Are your kids hyperactive? Well, a new study reports the culprit might be in the food and drinks in your kitchen. Here's NBC's Janet Shamlian.
You can find them in products on virtually any shelf along every aisle of grocery stores across the country. Those food additives with complicated names and a simple job: to preserve or color everything from juice to Jell-O, pickles to candy. Now a new study finds those ingredients that add longevity and color can ignite hyperactivity in children between the ages of 3 and 9.
As a nutritionist as well as a mother, this study to me represents a reason not to have snack foods and drinks that have additives in them.
While the study is the first confirmed link between additives and hyperactivity, it won't surprise many parents who've long believed that a colorful treat like this will send their children soaring.
You want some dried mangoes?
It's why this Chicago mom has a kitchen full of foods with no additives. Chris Jennings is a stickler for natural foods, especially when it comes to what her 4-year-old daughter Ava eats. Jennings says she's always believed what science now confirms.
When I hear about studies that correlate food additives to children's behavior like ADHD, I definitely feel vindicated in just how I feed my daughter and my family.
Trade groups for food, beverage, and additive manufacturers declined comment. The FDA says the ingredients are safe, though it has yet to review the study, which came out of the UK. The study's author questions whether additives which don't add flavor are necessary.
You really need to ask the food manufacturers, why are they putting them in there? What's the purpose they're serving? If they're of no nutritional value and they're only really there perhaps to make the products more attractive to children.
If kids are behaving badly, Stevenson suggests, take a look not at what they're doing, but what they're eating.
Tomorrow, we give them all organic.
For today, Janet Shamlian, NBC News, Fort Worth.
Dr. Tanya Reamer-Altman is a pediatrician and a member of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Dr. Altman, good morning. Nice to have you here. So I'm the parent of 3 children under the age of 6. This is right in my interest area. How concerned should we be, all of us, about this study?
Well, before we ring the alarm bells with parents, I think it's important to note that further studies do need to be done. Now, this study is interesting because it is the first study that has shown a link between food additives and hyperactive behavior in children. So it'll be interesting to see if further studies can repeat these findings. The
FDA, as Janet just said in her piece, has not seen this study yet, but they continue to insist that these products and these additives are safe. As a parent, would your suggestion to me, though, you say not get crazy, but to err on the side of caution?
Well, this study aside, we know that healthy, natural food options are always better for your children. I mean, they should be eating fresh fruits and vegetables instead of processed fruit snacks and sugary beverages. If, as a parent, you are noting behavioral changes in your kids when they're eating certain items, then that's even more of a reason to make a change.
You know what's funny for me is when I look at these brightly colored foods and drinks that sometimes we give our children, it never occurred to me, and I watch their activity level afterward, and they get very, kind of crazy. It's never occurred to me that it's the additive. I always thought it's the sugar in these things. But these are two very different things.
They are, and they're both interesting to look at. Previous studies have not shown any link between sugary foods and beverages and hyperactivity in kids, despite what parents seem to notice.
All right, so what specific foods are we talking about? Well,
this study specifically looked mainly at food colorings, and they mixed it into fruit juices that they gave children. But in general, the foods that have more additives and colorings are those that are high in sugar and high in fat and overly processed, things that children really shouldn't be eating anyway.
The woman, the mother in the setup spot says she feeds her children only natural foods. Now, that's wonderful, and it sounds great. How hard is it to actually carry out in today's day and age?
Well, I mean, I think it's something that is very important. In fact, in my practice, even before this study came out, I challenge all parents of infants and toddlers to not introduce fruit juices to their child's diet. Get them used to drinking water as their beverage of choice as an infant. And years later, most of these parents come back and they thank me and they say, making healthy food choices for our infants and toddlers really helped dictate the foods that they were going to eat later on in life.
So in other words, and if a parent says, look, my child, my daughter, my son likes the taste of apple juice, well then give your child an apple. Don't give them the little juice box that might contain these additives.
Exactly. Fresh fruits and vegetables are always a better option.
There was some concern in an article that I read about this, that if you do this to your children, it sounds like you're punishing your children, but if you do this to your children, there'll be a social impact on them because their friends are drinking the juice box. How do you feel about that?
Well, as a parent, there are always going to be things that your children want to do that aren't going to be healthy or good for them. And as a parent, it's your responsibility to set limits.
All right. Dr. Tanya Reamer Altman, doctor, thanks very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.